Welcome back to the deep dive. If you're with us, you're here because you want knowledge that is thorough, insightful, and delivered efficiently. You don't want the textbook. You want the shortcut to being truly well-informed.
That's right.
And today, we're tackling one of the most common challenges out there, achieving genuine English fluency. We've all hit that frustrating intermediate plateau.
Oh, absolutely. Where you know enough to get by, but speaking still feels slow.
Right. And the right words seem just out of reach.
hmm
The common wisdom says you need to speak more, practice listening. And that's true, but our sources reveal something really profound.
They do.
Reading is the single most powerful, quiet tool you have. It's sort of the engine running under the hood of fluency.
I like that analogy.
So our deep dive mission today is clear. We are unpacking the cognitive magic of reading, how it fundamentally rewires your brain for language, and giving you actionable strategies.
The kind you can actually use.
Exactly. Turn 10 minutes a day into transformative progress, whether you're a complete beginner or, struggling to push past that intermediate wall.
And we've been deep in the source material on this. It's a really practical guide focused on benefits, application, habit formation.
And overcoming challenges.
Right. And we can confirm this is not just about learning more words. It's about structural immersion.
What's fascinating here is that we aren't just summarizing information. We're showing you how to apply it. We're moving beyond the simple what to read and into the
How reading fundamentally changes the way you think, and especially how it integrates difficult concepts like grammar without you ever having to touch a textbook rule.
Okay, let's break that down. We'll start with
Okay.
section 1, the core benefits. The focus here is learning naturally, almost by accident.
Right.
And the first most obvious advantage is vocabulary expansion, but not through, memorizing lists. It happens entirely through context.
Which is so much more effective.
You can just throw away those endless flashcards.
Yeah.
When you read, you see new words being used in real dynamic sentences,
And that context gives you everything, the nuance, the usage, the tone.
all at once. Let's use a specific example. Say you're reading a story and you find the line, "The little boy was absolutely thrilled to see the fireworks light up the sky."
Okay.
Even if thrilled is a new word for you, the context, fireworks light up. Boy, it limits the possibilities. You can instantly guess it means something like highly excited or happy.
And that process where you infer the meaning is so much better than memorization because it links the word to a picture, to a scenario.
Not just a translation.
Exactly. And the real power is how it builds depth. If you read 5 different things and you see the words happy, joyful, excited, delighted, and thrilled.
Ah, right, in different situations.
Yes, your brain immediately starts to cross-reference them. You're building this rich map of synonyms, and you start to understand the subtle differences in intensity.
So you get precision in your speaking, not just a bigger vocabulary.
That's it.
That's the vocabulary side. But the real leverage point, the thing that I think separates reading from other methods, is that structural immersion, the natural absorption of grammar. Now, I've seen so many learners get bogged down by textbook rules. If I don't know the name present perfect continuous,
Hmm.
how can I trust my brain is learning it just by reading?
That's a crucial question
Hmm.
because the brain learns language through pattern recognition, not by reciting rules.
Okay.
Textbook rules use what's called declarative memory. You have to consciously recall a formula, but reading taps into procedural memory.
The muscle memory of language.
You've got it. When you read thousands of well-formed sentences, your brain just starts to recognize what sounds correct automatically.
So with an example like, she has been living in London for 5 years.
You're seeing the present perfect continuous in action. You don't need to know its name. You don't need to define auxiliary verb.
The pattern just sinks in.
The more you're exposed to it, the more familiar you become with word order, prepositions, all of it. The correct structures just start to feel right. It turns grammar into an instinct.
Okay, so we have precision in words, and we have structural instinct. The third layer has to be cultural insight. Right?
Absolutely.
Learning a language is about understanding how people think, and reading is like a direct window into English-speaking cultures.
You pick up on so much.
You really do. You might read a story set in the U.S. and suddenly understand the social dynamics of an American high school or how they celebrate Thanksgiving. I remember reading a British book years ago and being totally confused by the word fortnight.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. But you only learn that tiny specific cultural detail through reading.
And that depth of understanding, the culture and the grammar patterns, that brings us right into section 2. We're moving from the page to actual practice.
To practical communication and fluency.
Yes, how to actually use all this.
This directly hits that pain point for intermediate learners that struggle to find the right words in a conversation.
Mm-hmm. The moment.
Exactly. Reading dialogue in novels or even blogs builds this mental library of natural phrases, not just single words.
It's about learning in chunks.
Yes. Our sources really stress moving away from rigid translated speech. Instead of, hello, how are you? You learn from dialogue to say.
Hey, how's it going?
Right. Or instead of, where is the station?
Yeah.
You learn the more polite native pattern. Could you tell me where the station is?
And the response isn't, that is good. It's, sounds great.
That library of chunks is just ready to go.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is the key to breaking through that intermediate plateau. Fluency isn't really about speed.
It's about flow.
It's about speaking without those long, frustrating pauses, the ones caused by your brain trying to translate.
That internal translation buffer.
That's the one. Reading trains your brain to just bypass that step. It speeds you up because you start deploying entire patterns at once.
So if you read the phrase, I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the beautiful sunset.
That whole structure gets stored as a single unit.
So later, you're not building the sentence word by word. You just swap out the last part.
Exactly. You use the pattern you stored. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the fireworks. Speaking becomes smoother, more automatic. You've shifted from construction to deployment.
And to make those chunks sound right, there's the often overlooked advantage: pronunciation and rhythm from reading aloud. But I have to ask a question here.
Go for it.
If I'm reading aloud by myself, without a teacher, aren't I just practicing my existing bad habits?
That's a valid concern, but the benefit of reading aloud, especially at the sentence level, is less about perfecting every single sound and more about mastering the rhythm and stress.
The music of the language.
Precisely. English is a stress-timed language. Reading aloud helps your mouth and brain get used to that flow. Think about a sentence like, she was absolutely thrilled to receive the award.
Okay, I can feel the stress on thrilled and award.
Right. Reading it forces you to feel which words get emphasis and which ones are spoken quickly. It's muscle memory for the cadence.
And the sources have a great practical tip here. Read along with an audiobook.
The ultimate combo. You listen to the native speaker's tone, their rhythm, their pronunciation, and then you try to mirror it. It directly connects the words on the page to how they should sound coming out of your mouth.
Okay, so understanding the benefits is step one. But the next hurdle is purely practical.
Implementation. Choosing the right stuff to read. This brings us to strategy 1. Choosing the right materials.
Because the wrong book can just kill your motivation instantly.
Instantly. The critical balance here is managing frustration. Too difficult, you get overwhelmed and you stop. Too easy, and you're not learning anything.
So how do you find that sweet spot?
You need to internalize the 80% rule. Choose a book where you already understand at least 80% of the words.
How do you check that?
Just take a random page. If you're stopping to look up more than one word out of every 5, it's too dense.
Put it down.
Immediately. Switch to something easier. If you're constantly fighting the vocabulary, you can't focus on the structure.
So, based on that rule, what should people be looking for? For, say, true beginners.
For beginners, the sources highly recommend graded readers. These are books written specifically with simplified vocabulary for learners.
Children's books, too.
Children's books and graphic novels are also fantastic. The pictures provide context clues, which really helps with comprehension.
What about for intermediate learners, where kids' books might feel a bit simple?
That's where you look for adapted classics. These are rewritten versions of books like Alice in Wonderland or The Little Prince. They keep the great story but use more manageable language. It's an intellectual challenge without the vocabulary overload.
But the absolute most important thing for consistency has to be choosing topics that actually interest you.
Oh, 100%. This should never, ever feel like homework.
If you love football, read articles about the Champions League. If you're into science, find an accessible blog. You're using your passion to push through the hard parts.
And remember to vary the formats. Books are great for deep immersion, but online articles give you informal, current English.
Right. And magazines give you real-world language. Audiobooks help with rhythm.
Mix it up.
Which brings us to strategy 2, consistency and habit formation. We talk about transformation, but that only happens with daily application.
It's all about the routine.
Consistency is absolutely key. Small efforts, repeated every day, lead to exponential progress. The goal is not reading a whole chapter on day one.
No, please don't do that.
The advice is clear. Start small, just 10 minutes a day, or one very short story a week. Hitting small targets builds confidence.
For beginners, that could be one page from a graded reader, or a short news summary with your morning coffee. The goal has to be achievable every single day, no excuses.
And what really stands out in the behavioral science here is habit stacking.
Yes, attaching a new habit to an existing one.
It's so much easier. Look at your daily routine for those little pockets of waiting time.
Exactly. Read an article while you have breakfast, or during your work break instead of scrolling social media.
Or on the bus. While you're waiting in line, you're just replacing a less productive activity with reading.
And technology makes this so easy. Apps like Kindle or LinkQ mean you always have something good to read right at your level.
And with audiobooks, you can turn walking the dog into synchronized reading practice.
Okay, so reality check. We've covered why it works and how to set up the habit, but you will hit roadblocks.
Oh, you will.
So let's move to our final strategy section, overcoming common reading challenges. Because hitting a wall of unknown words can just kill your motivation.
Challenge number 1. Unfamiliar vocabulary. The strategy here is crucial. You have to guess the meaning from context first.
Resist the urge to grab the dictionary.
You have to. It's part of training your brain to stay in English mode. The sources even give a process for this. You look at the words around it, the emotional tone.
And you decide if the word is actually essential to understanding the main idea.
Let's apply that. The example sentence is, "The bright and dazzling sun made it hard to see." You might not know dazzling,
But you know sun and bright, and you know the result is hard to see.
so you can confidently guess that dazzling means something like very bright or intense.
And that act of guessing is what trains the structural part of your brain.
And if you absolutely have to use a dictionary, the advice is to resist translating into your native language. Why is that so important?
Because translating breaks your flow. It forces you back into that internal translation buffer we talked about.
Yeah.
If you use an English-to-English dictionary, even a simple one, you are keeping your brain operating completely in English. Underline the tough words, but only look up the absolutely essential ones.
The goal is to keep reading.
Exactly. The second big challenge is just lack of motivation or feeling intimidated by a huge book.
Right.
What stands out here is that engagement is everything. If a book is boring you, switch. Don't feel like you have to finish it. Read a travel blog, read a comic book. The goal is daily exposure, not literary achievement.
And for those massive, intimidating books, the strategy is psychological. Break them into tiny sections.
Don't try to read a chapter.
Just read one paragraph, then stop and summarize the main idea in your own words, in English, then move on. That keeps you actively engaged.
And note-taking is huge for that. Write down the main idea. Write down maybe 3 new words per page. That little bit of resistance, make sure you're absorbing, not just scanning.
And a final tip for difficult texts. Read it twice.
It's so effective. The first time through, you get the general flow, the context. The second time, your comprehension will be so much higher because your brain is already primed.
That brings us to the end of this deep dive. We've covered how reading transforms 4 key areas: your vocabulary, your grammar instinct, your fluency, and your cultural understanding.
A lot of ground.
The core